What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to bring you my Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory Episode 1 review 0 hour. Yo, so last night the new episode aired and it was awesome. It was awesome. I loved it. The animation looks incredible. So I wanted to do a video on, some things, my thoughts, what I enjoyed, some things that were lacking, and also bring some other things like things from, differences between the novel, the manga, which I have, and, the novels that they're originally from. So we're going to look at a few things. Oh, and I also have a couple things from the anime director from the original Full Metal Panic, as well as some of the stuff from the characters. So we're going to look at that as well. So first things first. Okay. First thing. The very beginning, the intro. I've been waiting for this. Now, you might be able to see it behind me. But Tessa visits the grave of her parents, and this was a really nice scene. I really enjoyed it. This was probably critical scene number 1. The introduction. Basically, Tessa's there, and her brother suddenly shows up, and they have this, conversation. And he tries to persuade her to come back with him. And obviously that doesn't go well. And then you have this standoff between the two sides of Mithril and Amalgam. And what's so awesome about this is you don't really know they're right behind them, right? Because there's this invisible wall, force field with the AS units, and you see Sosuke on one side and Fowler on the other side. So really cool scene. I really enjoyed it. Some of the conversation between Tessa and Leonard was, left out. However, the critical things like, come back with me, let it be like old times, these types of things, the words that he's saying, those were all in the novel, so they kept it pretty close. Other than that, that scene was great. I loved it. Especially, the standoff. The standoff was really cool. And of course, when you see the two of them standing there in this massive AS units, facing off against one another, that scene was awesome. I loved it. So the first scene was done incredibly well. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, they left some of the content out, like, the thing about, the dead have no honor or integrity. So that was something that Leonard said in the novel as well as the manga. And he even says that as he leaves. But other than that, they didn't really leave much out. Okay, the next scene. You might see it behind me. Kurama is introduced. Okay, Kurama is introduced. This is a, new villain / hitman of Amalgam. And this guy is one serious dude. I mean, this guy straight up says Gowron and Gates were kind of soft when it came to handling Mithril. They just played around with them, and they ended up, losing everything in the process. So this guy basically says, I'm all business, and I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to target Sosuke. I'm going to target, the girl Chidori, and we're gonna, be successful. So it also is kind of crazy because, Gowron was this, psychotic character, really good villain, in the Full Metal Panic series. So for him to say that is kind of crazy, You guys remember Gowron? Gowron is this guy. This is the anime guide that I have. But yeah, Gowron here. And basically, this is the guy who had an obsession with Sosuke. And he called him Kashin because that was his name when he was a mercenary. And they crossed paths then. So he was kind of had this obsession with him, and I guess that's kind of what Kurama's trying to say. He was playing with him too much instead of just taking him out. But I do like the first impression of Kurama. He's just serious. He's a badass. So I can't wait to see him in action. Okay, on to the next critical scene, and that has to be Senior Hayashi, the prince, the president of the student council for Jindai High School. And this guy, the guy with the white hair and glasses, he basically is with Sosuke on the top of the roof, and they're having this serious conversation. And I'm so glad they included this in the anime because it's very important. He reveals that he noticed that Chidori is the reason that all these things surrounding them and the school are happening is because of her, not him. He has had some problems and caused some things, but she's the center of everything, and he knows this. He realizes this, and he tells him, your time is running out. You got to make a decision. You can get out now, because if you don't, you're going to regret it later. And so, yeah, this is what he says to him, and it's kind of like, as a friend, I don't want you to suffer. So I want you to think about this seriously, because whoever's after her is going to come after her, and you're going to regret it because something bad is going to happen. And, it's like you're trying to do too much, and, you're going to run out, eventually. So, but anyways, it's a great scene. It's kind of this tense, serious scene, and it gives you a look into what might happen, once Amalgam is successful, in, taking Chidori back, and also, if they threaten, Sosuke and his friends. So, anyways, it's a look into the future, kind of, It's kind of like a warning to what's to come. And he even goes as far as saying, I like it here. He says, I like it here, and he says, I do too, but, these kids are innocent, your classmates are innocent, and that, they can become, scared, anxious, and then they can become cruel. So if they don't understand what's going on, they will turn on you, basically, is what he's saying. And so you're going to regret it. So I do enjoy that scene with Hayashi Mizu. It was done really well. I just like the whole thing there. The next scene shows, obviously, Kaname and Sosuke. And you get this romantic type, feeling between them. You got a little tension. She's upset. And she's talking to him. And then suddenly he grabs her hand. Like, let's hold hands, Chidori. And she's like, huh? It's like so sudden. Why? And so he's like, you don't want to? And she's like, it's not that, but, so it's not that he wants to. It's more like he has to, because he feels this pressure that maybe, I could lose her. So I have to hold on to her. So it's kind of like, this just continuous, pressure for Sosuke. And so now he's realizing how precious these moments are. And so he's afraid of losing her, basically. He's afraid of losing Chidori, in the end. So this is kind of what's happened. So we get this progression of the relationship. They're holding hands, and they kind of walk home together, right? And she invites him up over to, have some dinner. And who shows up at their apartment? Well, it's Leonard Testarossa. And he throws an ultimatum at him. But before we even get to that, there's the scene where when she opens the door, Sosuke realizes someone's there, and he kind of pushes her out of the way. Okay, he kind of, goes in himself. So she moves behind the door, and he goes in and he jumps in with his gun, and he's ready to shoot. Well, this is a little different than the manga because she doesn't just hide behind the door, she really hides behind him. And actually, he kind of shields her. So I was a little disappointed in that scene because, in a way, they're holding hands the whole time, and then suddenly he kind of, takes her and kind of shields her, from harm. But here, he's just, letting her go, and she's off in, behind the door. So it was a little different. Not a huge, problem or anything like that, but it was noticeable. And for them to, have this, sudden, urge to be connected, they're holding hands, and then she just lets go, and he goes off on his own. It's kind of like, wow, okay, I kind of noticed it. It's kind of noticeable. But other than that, I like the scene. Okay, now on to Leonard, because Leonard makes an ultimatum, and basically he's saying, my organization has gotten serious. I've come for you. I've come for you, Chidori. So basically he's come with me, because I love you. And obviously there's a little tension, well, there's a lot of tension between Chidori and, Leonard, because, they have some history, and there's also confusion as well because Sosuke doesn't know what happened between the two of them, right? At that time, he had left Jendai High. He had left his mission behind. He had abandoned her. So that was this, that's where this confusion is coming from. So when, he's saying, you're still upset about that? And so you see this look on his face like, what are they talking about? But he's still upset that he's, causing, this disturbance. But you could definitely see there's this wall they're starting to drift apart, before Chidori and, Sosuke were, together. And as the scene progresses, the more further apart they become because of Leonard's words, because of what happened between the two of them. So it's a very interesting and tense scene. And even further than that, because Sosuke is there and he shoots at Leonard, and one of his jacket basically comes up, and it's a bulletproof jacket. That was pretty awesome. So that was obviously, something that surprised Sosuke. But anyways, besides that point, he basically shows that he's very serious, and he came with those Alisters, which are those mini AAS units, and so he's basically trying to convince her, to leave school and come with me. You belong with us. We're whispered, not like this guy. And so, can you really be safe with him? And so this is kind of tearing, making them even further apart, because at the end, when he leaves, okay, she refuses, obviously, right? She's like, get the hell out of here. I don't want to see you again. I hate you. But he says, can you really be safe with him? A man who's killed over 100 people? And so she gets, in her head, she starts to realize, I may like him, I might have feelings for him, but deep inside, I'm afraid too, so now he's trying to drive them further apart. So it's a great scene, but it's really sad too, because we start to see, kind of the downfall of the relationship start to happen. It's starting to break apart. So that is a good scene, but they did a pretty good job in the anime. I really enjoyed it. The next critical scene, obviously, we're back to the Mithril base, Merida Island, and we got, these communication failures, and they're being attacked by Amalgam with all these, communication attacks. So they lose communication with everyone. So this is the beginning of the assault on Mithril. So now we see there's lack of communication. They can't get in touch, with Sosuke or Kaname. They can't, they can't even get in touch with them. So now they're like in their, this vehicle, the car, and they're basically waiting it out because they don't want to stay in their apartment. It's too dangerous. So now it's kind of like a point of no return for them, So he realizes, the enemy is going to attack, and at the very end of the scene, so you got this another uneasiness between the two, He still doesn't want to lose her, but he wants to protect her. He wants to protect her, make sure she's safe, but he doesn't want to lose her either. So he has to stay and fight. But at the same time, there's this feeling inside of him, and you can see when he's holding the steering wheel, he's like, he's thinking it, that he wants to run away with her. He wants to run away with her, but obviously there's no way he can, right? He's going to have to stay and fight. So it was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, there are a few changes, but other than that, it was a great start. And like I said, the very ending with Kaname and Sosuke shows the beginning of that battle, right about to start, because you see the enemies surrounding them in their car, and you got this chopper that's heading on the way, but it's 5 minutes away, so now we're going to get a serious battle. Overall, though, the anime is it's going a lot faster than the last season. Now, that's to be expected because that's just how the story is in the manga, in the novel. That's just how the story is progressing. But it also shows, that some darker, parts are coming. You don't really want that to happen, but it's going to happen. So, but that's what makes the story great. So I'm looking forward to it. The next episode is next Friday, so I'll try to get, a review out for that as well next week. But yeah, overall it's pretty good. I wanted to share with you guys my anime guide. So the anime guide basically has everything about the characters. I shared this before in one of my discussions. So I wanted to share with you guys something from the interview with Gato, who is the creator of Full Metal Panic, and Chigira, who is the director of the Full Metal Panic anime. So basically, he's asking a question: please tell me, what do you like most about Full Metal Panic? So this is Chigira, the director of the anime. He states that, for me, I like Gato's characters because they really came alive. I guess the one I like the most is Gato. You like Gaurin that much? So basically, it sounds like he likes a lot of the characters, and I agree because they really do come alive, and that's what I like about them. They're very complex characters. But yeah, he says he likes Gaurin, and obviously that's the psychotic, villain in the first two, second raid as well as the original. So that's kind of interesting. It also says, what do you like most about the anime? And Gato is the creator. He says it was a very high quality show in every way. All the things that go into it, like the colors, sound, and so forth. Taking all these things into account, quality of the anime is high. Since I wasn't expecting quite that level of quality, I'm more than happy. It is not easy to tell you how I feel about it in a few words. I'd love to watch it all the way through on DVD or something. So basically, it sounds like the creator was very happy with how it was done. So I'm very much looking forward, to see the anime progress in this one as well. It's going to get darker. It's going to get darker, guys. It's going to get darker. So I hate to say it, but there's going to be some sad and dark scenes coming soon. So I've already looked at the Blu-rays for this, and there are 3 Blu-rays out. That means there are going to be 4 episodes per Blu-ray, and that means that each arc, which this is Tokyo Hen, which takes place in Tokyo, is going to be 4 episodes. So that means that this basically this whole novel is going to be in 4 episodes. That gives you an idea of how fast-paced it's going to be. And it's not just, fast-paced as in, rushed, because I don't think it's rushed. But what I mean is fast-paced as in the culmination of the story is starting to, really get into a serious point where things are progressing a little quicker than normal. So it's not a bad thing, it's just that the story is now getting to the serious point of no return. There's going to be some serious battles. People are going to die. I'm telling you right now, there are going to be some sad scenes. Like I said, it's going to be dark. There's going to be some, things that you might not expect. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Chapter 1, 0 Hour. And next week I'll try to, include some stuff from the novels and my manga as well. Maybe I'll share some, illustrations, because there's some color illustrations in the manga. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week.